Well, hello to all my family and friends, my political colleagues and followers of my YouTube channel. It's been a while since I've posted anything, and that's because obviously the political journey that was a big part of my life in 2019 came to a fairly abrupt end, hopefully temporarily, on the 13th of December. But I felt it was important to produce a video right now because, as well as it being a very important punctuation point in my own life, I'm 65 tomorrow, it's also a hugely significant moment in the life and the history of our nation. What I actually wanted to do in the video, as well as to greet you all and say hello, was to give you a little bit of entertainment, hopefully, and also to make a couple of comments really on the world that we're living in right now and the emergency that has faced our people and the nations. So, first thing I'd like to do is to show you a couple of cars, because for 44 years of my life classic motor cars have been a big part of it, and of course with the lockdown, although we can work, we can't open showrooms, and therefore what I've had to do is to produce video of some interesting cars for potential clients, and that's been very successful. Now, yesterday was a particularly exciting day for me because I got the opportunity to take out a Shelby Mustang for the first time in my life, and also to take out a Ford Escort Mark I, which has got the running gear of the car that did the Fast and the Furious episode 6, the jump car, which was quite sensational. So I'm going to show you that, and then later in the video a few thoughts. I hope you enjoy it. We've had more interest in this Mark I Escort than I think anything we've had in 20 years. So I thought I'd better go out and find out what all the fuss is about. So the story goes, I mean, it's the running gear from the jump car from Fast and Furious 6, grossed almost $800 million. I actually thought my Mark I Escort days were over, but well, here goes. Oh my goodness! Oh, this is great! I was 12 years old when this car was made, and this car's the stuff of every schoolboy's dreams, really. A Shelby Mustang, an absolutely awesome supercar. Wow, that is, whoa, what a car, and what a nice 65th birthday present to myself to take this out, all in the line of work. Well, it's really rather a shame to have to take this back. Well, as you can see, I've been having quite a lot of fun over the last couple of days making product videos for the classic car business. And now the day has arrived, the 26th of April 2020. It's my birthday, and I'm going to celebrate it later on today with a glass of champagne with my wife Liz, and online via Zoom with other members of my family. Now, many of you will know that 2019 was a hugely important year for me, my first venture into political life, and I did actually think it may have come to an end on the 13th of December, and even though we got half a loaf, of course I didn't end up with a political position. But there's one thing that is remarkable about this present time compared to the 3.5-year lead up to the December general election. And it's one word 3 times: fear, fear, fear. We had fear all as a political message all through the 3.5 years following the Brexit vote of June 2016. And now, in a way that is much worse, it's fear, fear, fear. Now, I can fully understand why we were in lockdown a month ago. The virulence of coronavirus wasn't really properly understood by the scientific and medical community, but it is now. And as anybody with a scientific background like me knows, if you are cooped up indoors and don't get to sample God's fresh air and be amongst things and people, your immune system begins to deteriorate. And I'm actually quite concerned about what will happen when eventually we're released to mingle again in the world as we always did. And I think it raises some very, very important political questions. Now, during the journey, I met some other Christians in politics. I was delighted to meet Anne Widdecombe. I spent a little bit of time, of course, with Nigel Farage, though not so much on a personal basis. I do remember very distinctly when he said something which I thought was most uncharacteristic of politicians. He said, "Never ever lie." I was very impressed with Nigel, and perhaps that journey with Nigel and his team will continue. But I make the point that there are some massive political questions to be asked about what has happened over coronavirus and the extent to which freedoms have been taken away from us. And I wonder how quickly, if ever, and whether completely, those freedoms and rights will be passed back to us. Governments don't have a good track record in that regard. Now, some of you will have seen a film that I made in 2014, a video which I made, which was called "Grain Will Be the New Gold." And in that, I made a quite prophetic statement on January the 24th, actually, 2014, standing outside the Bank of England. A slightly chubbier version of me said this. There's a phrase I use called the tyranny of the familiar. It describes that state of mind in which people dismiss the possibility that something bad will happen simply because it's never happened before. Very soon, life is going to change for everyone. There's a gathering storm. Some can see it and others are not looking up. They're simply unaware. But the financial, social and political life of Britain is about to change. Now, of course, I didn't know exactly what was coming. I just knew that something would happen in the foreseeable future that would change the political, social and financial life of the nation. And I don't think there can be any argument that there's going to be massive financial repercussions to this, to the way in which governments have responded to coronavirus, not to this COVID-19 itself. So that's a subject for other videos, and I do intend to start making regularly videos on this channel. So I'm going to close this video with a little clip that I recorded a few years ago. It uses a 20-year-old track which was written by Graham Kendrick. It's never been published. It was actually created for a Millennium event for a good friend of mine, a gentleman called Graham Ferguson Lacey, and it's called "No Need to Fear," and that's my message to everybody as we approach uncertain times. So as I head off to celebrate the rest of this day, I also celebrate the fact that Jesus conquered death so that I can live my life freed from fear, and so can you. Thanks for watching.
When times of trouble come, oppression storm beats at your strong. Their pride and power is not for long. Be still, my soul, and trust in God, and place your life into His hands, for He will never fail you. And in the morning you'll see His face. No need to fear. Don't fear.